I'm 108 years old. When you sit with that number for a moment, it sounds impossible, unreal, like something written in an old history book. But I am still here. My hands are wrinkled like dry autumn leaves. My back bends a little more than it used to. And my steps are slow, very slow. Yet my heart still beats with a quiet rhythm. And I am not afraid to die. People often ask me, how can you say that so calmly? I smile, because fear only comes when something feels unfinished. When I was young, I was afraid of everything. Afraid of not being beautiful enough, afraid of not being loved enough, afraid of not being successful enough. I thought life was a race, and I was always behind. I wanted more, 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 more attention, more certainty. But life has a way of sanding down your sharp edges. At 20, I thought love would save me. At 30, I thought hard work would save me. At 40, I thought control would save me. By 50, I realized nothing was coming to save me, and strangely, that was the most peaceful realization of my life. I have seen wars begin and end. I have seen cities rise like proud towers and fall like tired giants. I have seen people who swore eternal love walk away after a few winters. I have seen children born into my arms grow old enough to hold my hands. Time does not ask for permission. It moves, and when you have watched time for more than a century, you start to understand something most people don't. Everything changes. Everything. The pain you think will kill you softens. The joy you think will last forever shifts. The anger that burns in your chest cools into a quiet lesson. Nothing stays. So why should I? I am not afraid to die because I have already died many small deaths. The day I lost someone I loved, something inside me died. The day my dreams changed direction, another part of me faded. The day my body could no longer run, another version of me said goodbye. We die in pieces throughout our lives. We just don't hold funerals for those versions of ourselves, and every time something in me died, something else was born. A softer heart, a stronger spine, a quieter mind. Death stopped feeling like an enemy. It started feeling like a familiar doorway. When you live long enough, you realize that fear of death is often fear of losing control. But tell me, when did we ever truly have control? Did we control the family we were born into? The storms that came without warning, the illnesses that arrived like uninvited guests, the people who decided to stay or leave abrupt. We control so little. Yet we exhaust ourselves pretending we control everything. At 108, I have learned to loosen my grip. I do not cling to my past. I do not beg tomorrow to arrive. I sit in this chair, feel the sunlight on my face, listen to the small sounds of the world, and that is enough. You see, I am not waiting to die. I am simply not running from it. There is a difference. When you stop running, your breathing slows. Your heart stops pounding with panic. You start noticing details. The way tea steam curls in the air. The way laughter echoes in another room. The way silence feels full instead of empty. I used to think silence meant loneliness. Now I know silence is a gift. In silence, you hear your own truth. And my truth is this: I have lived, not perfectly, not always wisely, but fully. I have made mistakes that kept me awake at night. I have said words I wish I could swallow back. I have held grudges longer than I should have. I have loved people who did not know how to love me back, but I also forgave. I also learned. I also opened my heart again and again, even when it hurt. What that is living as something cold and frightening. But after 108 years, I see it differently. When I was a little girl, I was afraid of the night. I thought monsters lived in the dark. My mother would sit beside me and say, "Close your eyes. The dark is just the sky resting." And when I finally closed my eyes, I realized the night wasn't chasing me. It was simply there, quiet. Still, death feels like that now, like night. Not an enemy, not a monster, just the natural turning of the sky. What frightens most people is not death itself, it is regret. They are afraid because they have words unsaid, dreams untouched, apologies unspoken, love withheld. If you are afraid to die, ask yourself gently, what are you still holding back? I stopped holding back a long time ago. I say I love you whenever I feel it. I forgive quickly because I know how heavy resentment becomes. I laugh loudly even if my voice shakes. I rest when I am tired. I cry when I need to. There is nothing dramatic left in me, only honesty. At this age, every morning feels like a small surprise. I wake up and think, another day. Not with dread, with curiosity. How will the light look today? Who will I speak to? What memory will visit me? And if one morning I do not wake up, that will be all right too, because life is not measured only by its length, it is measured by its presence. And I have been present. I have watched rain fall against windows for hours. I have held tiny hands learning to walk. I have listened to stories told for the 100th time and still smiled. I have sat in grief and not turned away. I have shown up. When you are young, you think you have endless tomorrows. When you are old, you understand tomorrows never promise. This realization does not make me anxious. It makes me grateful. Grateful for warm blankets, for soft bread, for kind voices, for memories that visit like old friends. Gratitude leaves no room for fear. Fear and gratitude cannot sit in the same chair for long. One will always rise and leave. And I choose gratitude. If death were to walk into this room right now and sit across from me, I would not scream. I would not beg. I would simply look at it the way I look at an old traveler. You finally arrived, I would say. With recognition. Because after 108 years, I understand something deeply. Life was never meant to be clutched tightly. It was meant to be experienced, then gently released, like a song that plays beautifully and then ends. I am 108 years old. My body is tired, yes, but my spirit is not trembling. It is calm. I have loved. I have lost. I have failed. I have grown. I have witnessed miracles in ordinary days, and that is enough. When you live this long, you begin to see life as a long conversation, not a speech, not a performance, a conversation. Sometimes life whispers, sometimes it argues, sometimes it sits quietly beside you and says nothing at all. And for many years I argued back. I demanded explanations. I wanted reasons for every loss, every disappointment, every closed door. But life does not owe us explanations. It offers experiences. I remember a time when I was very sick. My body felt like it was betraying me. Doctors spoke in careful voices. Family members tried to smile too brightly. I could see fear in their eyes, even when they hid it from me, and I lay there staring at the ceiling, thinking, is this it? In that moment, I searched my heart for panic. I waited for it to rise like a storm, but instead there was stillness. Not because I wanted to leave, not because I was tired of living, but because I had already made peace with the fact that nothing here belongs to me forever. Not my breath, not my body, not even the people I love. We are all borrowing time. Some borrow for 10 years, some for 50. Somehow I borrow for 108. The younger generations look at me as if I hold a secret to immortality. They ask what I ate, how much I slept, whether I exercised every day. They want a formula, a guarantee. There is no formula. Longevity is not always a reward. Sometimes it is simply a journey, a long one. The real secret is not how to live long. It is how to live deeply. I have known people who died young, but lived more fully than those who reached old age with bitterness in their hearts. And I have known people who survived many decades yet never truly allowed themselves to feel joy. Living long does not automatically mean living well. I am not proud of my age, as if it were an achievement. It is simply my story. I am not afraid to die, because I am no longer trying to prove anything. When you spend decades trying to prove your worth to your parents, to your partner, to society, you become exhausted. You chase approval like it is, but at some point you realize your existence was never a test. You were never meant to earn the right to be here. You were already here. That was enough. The day I stopped trying to prove myself was the day fear began to loosen its grip on me. Because what is death going to take from me? My reputation, my possessions, my titles hub. Those were never permanent anyway. I have outlived many people I love. That is one of the hardest parts of growing very old. You attend too many funerals. You hold too many hands as they grow cold. You say too many goodbyes. At first, each goodbye feels like a tearing, like fabric ripping. But slowly you begin to understand that love does not vanish with a heartbeat. The people I lost are not gone from me. They live in my gestures, in my laughter, in the recipes I still cook, in the stories I tell. That sometimes when the house is very quiet, I feel as if they are simply in another room. If death reunites me with them in some mysterious way, then how can I fear it? And if it is not, then I have already carried them inside me for decades. That is enough too. I have learned that most of our fear is imagination. We imagine pain. We imagine darkness. We imagine emptiness. But tell me, have you ever experienced death before? Truly. No, we fear something we do not understand. When I was a child, I feared the ocean. It looked endless, powerful, unpredictable. I refused to step into it. Then one day someone held my hand and walked with me into the water. It was cold at first, shocking, but then it held me up. I floated. The ocean had not been waiting to drown me. It had simply been waiting. I sometimes wonder if death is like that. Not something reaching to pull us under but something vast and quiet, simply holding space. Do not misunderstand me. I cherish life. I still enjoy the warmth of sunlight on my skin. I still enjoy the taste of sweet fruit. I still enjoy hearing children laugh. I am not detached. I am not indifferent. I simply do not cling. There is a difference between loving something and gripping it so tightly that your hands ache. When you loosen your grip, you can appreciate it more. Every morning I open my eyes and I do not demand other 100 years. I just accept the day in front of me. And if one day there is no morning for me, I trust that I have seen enough sunsets to be satisfied. People think courage means fighting. Sometimes courage means surrender, not surrender in defeat. Surrender in trust. The tree does not fight the autumn wind when its leaves fall. It lets them go. And because it lets go, it survives the winter. If I have learned anything in 108 years, it is this: resistance creates suffering, acceptance creates peace. I accept that my body is fragile now. I accept that my time is closer to its natural end than its beginning. I accept that one day my chair will be empty, and in that acceptance there is no terror, only calm. Joy and sorrow woven together so tightly that I cannot separate them. If you remove my pain, you would also remove my growth. If you erase my failures, you would erase my wisdom. Even my heartbreak shaped me into someone softer, someone kinder. Why would I regret a journey that created the person I am today? And if I do not regret the journey, why would I fear its natural conclusion? I am 108 years old. I sit here with thin hands folded in my lap, breathing slowly. I do not know what comes after this life. No one truly does. But I know this: I have tasted love. I have felt sorrow. I have witnessed beauty in the smallest moments. I have forgiven and been forgiven. That is a complete life. So when my final moment arrives, whether it is quiet or sudden, I will meet it the same way I have tried to meet every other moment, with open eyes, and with the gentle understanding that nothing was ever meant to last forever. Life was a gift, and I have unwrapped it layer by layer for 108 beautiful years.